Well, no one saw that coming. Hey guys, February 20 back again with a crazy update of the Billy Mitchell versus Twin Galaxy saga that's been going on for many, many years. It's officially over. Everyone's very upset. I made a video just the other day telling you guys that they settled out of court. And when I uploaded that video at the time, we didn't really know the settlement. Everything was very confidential. We didn't really know much of anything. Billy was refusing to say anything, and Twin Galaxy didn't post anything on their website yet. But that has all changed as of today. I've been getting a ton of messages. A lot of people are very upset with the outcome of this, and we will go ahead and read Billy Mitchell's statement right now. It's on Twitter, it's on his social media, and it says this: Twin Galaxies has reinstated all my world records from my video game career. Here's my statement. And it says, today, January 16, 2024, Twin Galaxies has reinstated all my video game world records that I achieved in my career, effective immediately. Twin Galaxy's statement on its website reads this: in fair consideration of the expert opinion provided by Dr. Zeta on behalf of Mr. Mitchell and consistent with Twin Galaxy's dedication to the meticulous documentation and preservation of video game score history, Twin Galaxies shall therefore reinstate all of Mr. Mitchell's scores as part of the official historical database on Twin Galaxy's website. Billy Mitchell goes on to say, I'm relieved and satisfied to reach this resolution after almost 6-year ordeal, and I look forward to pursuing my unfinished business elsewhere. Never surrender, Billy Mitchell. And you can actually go to Twin Galaxy's website and you can see their official statement. Billy does cross-reference it a little bit in his. I will leave a link below so you can actually read Twin Galaxy's official statement, because it's a lot bigger than Bill's. And they go on into detail and they really focus on this Dr. Zeta. It's this guy that Bill hired, apparently. And I guess this guy discovered, at least this is what he's claiming. And I think all this is going to be debunked in a future video by Carl Jobs. It sounds like this guy's really going to be dragged under the bus for sticking his neck out for Bill, not surprisingly. Because it's all just hogwash. It's crazy. We all can tell at this point that he played on MAME, or, it's just, he cheated. There's so much evidence at this point with the girder finger, and everything matches up with MAME. It's a known fact at this point. It's very, very highly documented. I mean, no one at this point believes that it was played on official hardware. Yeah, I mean, you would have to be an idiot to actually think this at this point. But for some reason, this Dr. Zeta says that all this stuff, the discrepancies that you can see in the gameplay can actually happen on original gameplay, just on faulty equipment. Like if the equipment is degrading, this can actually happen. So Twin Galaxies was just like, okay, whatever. We acknowledge that. They didn't necessarily agree, but they did say that they acknowledged the findings. And with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and put Bill's scores on a historical database. So I guess his scores are kind of reinstated. If you go to the actual leaderboards, they will not be there, but there is this subcategory on Twin Galaxy's website, I guess, on historical scoreboard, where they're there now in the database. And with that being said, I guess they went ahead and they archived and deleted a dispute thread that was one of his scores as well. So they went ahead and I guess hid that. And his scores are back up on the website, but not really on the leaderboard. It's on a completely different historical scoreboard or something like that, the database. And a lot of people are taking this as a win for Bill. They're like, man, this is crazy. His scores are reinstated. It's kind of like half and half. Like, you can't really say they're not reinstated, because they went from being taken off the website altogether to now they're back on the website. They're just not really on the leaderboard. They're in a different historical subcategory. So it was almost like they met in the middle somewhere. It's a really weird resolution that they came out with this. And a lot of people are like, why would Twin Galaxies do this? There was so much evidence stacked against Bill. If you guys were watching this court case from the very beginning, like me and many others, and you were very emotionally involved, and it was clear that this was not looking good for Bill at all. There was so much evidence against him with the red joystick, with him lying under oath several times and getting caught red-handed. It was insane. And this is coming from a guy who I was friends with Bill for many years. I supported him. I made so many videos defending the guy. And then when I saw those deposition videotapes of him lying and then getting caught in a lie over and over again, it made me really start looking at things differently. And then I remember him lying to me on some phone calls, back in the day. And again, I'm not going to go over that again. I already talked about all this in my why I no longer support Billy Mitchell video. Feel free to watch that if you want to. I don't want to talk about that again. But feel free to, if you're curious what I'm talking about with those phone calls, I do talk about it a little bit in that. But yeah, so a lot of people ask me this question too: is do I regret betraying Billy Mitchell? That's what people say. Like they feel like some people are like, you betrayed him, or you threw him under the bus. Do I regret it? Especially now with this outcome, some people think this is a favorable decision, a settlement for him. Do I regret it now that they're putting his scores back on this historical database? And I don't regret anything. One, I did not betray Bill at all. I done my own research and I opened up my eyes and I came to the decision that Bill has been lying to me for many, many years. And I actually caught him in a couple of lies on the phone. And it just really, I started looking at things from a different perspective, and everything just kind of clicked for me that I've been manipulated to try to help support him with the videos that I were making and stuff like that. And another reason why I don't regret anything that I've ever done or said is now that this is over and done with and the case is finally behind us, the same thing is going to happen now that happened if me and Bill were still quote unquote friends. Now that the case is over, Bill is no longer going to, he would never be calling me ever again, because he only called me again when he wanted a favor or me to upload a video defending him or something like that. And now that this case is officially over and there's really nothing to talk about, he would have never called again anyways. So my use for him would be over. He couldn't manipulate me anymore because there's nothing else to say, because now this case is behind us. And I know that sounds really sick and sad, but that's just unfortunately the relationship that me and Bill kind of had. And it's really sad to say that, but that is the case. And in the case of Billy Mitchell versus Twin Galaxies, if I'm an outsider looking in, and we all know the evidence that Twin Galaxies had against Bill, I mean, it was like stacking, it was dogpiling on top of Bill. The fact that they agreed on this, that this is the settlement, that the fact that they dropped the fraud lawsuit, so no money is going to be given. Bill doesn't owe Twin Galaxy any money for fraud, because they did try to countersue Bill for fraud. They had to go ahead and drop that. Billy doesn't owe Twin Galaxies a dime. And same thing with Twin Galaxies. Twin Galaxies doesn't owe Bill anything. So no financial compensation was really exchanged between either party. So nothing was really gained monetarily, but they do have his scores back on the website, on the historical database, and they did go ahead and remove a dispute thread that was on there as well. So not really what people were looking for. People are upset, they're pissed. I'm getting a lot of messages, people like telling me like, oh man, Billy won and this and that, and I don't think he won, in my opinion. I mean, if you go to a random person on the street right now and you say, who is Billy Mitchell? You're going to get one of two things. You're going to get some person that's going to say, I don't know who Billy Mitchell is. They're either not going to know who he is, or they're going to say, oh, isn't that the guy who cheated on Donkey Kong or something like that? Or that's what you're going to get. And I know this for a fact, because when I used to be friends with Bill and I would be talking to him on the phone, or people were like, oh, who were you talking to? And if I was like, oh, I was talking to Billy Mitchell, they would immediately be like, isn't that the guy who's like cheated or something, like cheated in Donkey Kong? Or they didn't know who he was. So in a grand scheme of things, you can't really say he won, because this lawsuit did nothing but damage his entire image at all. And I think if he had it his way, this lawsuit would have never even been filed to begin with, because all it did was just tarnish his name even more. So can't really say it's a win, but I know a lot of people, they're going to look at this and be like, wow, well, they had to put his scores back up, even though it's not on the leaderboard, it's on the historical database, and this is kind of like a win for Bill. And honestly, with all the evidence that was stacked against him, I would say you're probably right. This is the best possible outcome Bill could have ever imagined, because I thought he was going to get buried in court. There was just so much evidence against him. it would have been ugly. If this would have made it to trial, this would have been so bad for him. The fact that he was able to settle out of court and it was like this, where no money was exchanged on either side, and he got his some of his scores back into the database, the historical database. Such a weird way to meet in the middle. I mean, it's such a weird way to meet in the middle because people are still going to be like, because he can still say, well, my scores are on the website, so I win, you know, but then you're going to have people say, well, it's technically on the historical side. It's not on the leaderboard. Like, it's just, it's a lose-lose on both sides. Like, you can't really, it's kind of silly to argue about it, but I don't know. That's why I'm making this video, guys. Leave a comment below. What do you think of the settlement now that it's out there and we have a public statement from both sides? What do you think about this crazy, crazy court case? What a way to end it. This is such a weird, twisted tale. I swear to God, man, I did not see this coming. I really didn't. This is weird and bizarre. I don't feel good about it. Something feels really crummy about it. I don't know what it, and I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I wish Bill would have been taken to the cleaners and he would have like burned, you know, because I don't have like, you know, because I don't, believe it or not, I don't hate Bill. You know, I don't hate Billy Mitchell. I think he used me as a friend. You know, I feel manipulated, like I was used. I have no hatred towards the guy. I don't like hate him. You know, it was more of our, if you saw my original video when I said I no longer support Bill, it was more hurt. I was hurt from the entire thing. Like, I felt like I was taken advantage of. So, you know, and I'm glad it's finally over. You know, it's finally over. We can finally put this behind us. And I'm so grateful that it's over. I don't even got to talk about it anymore. But leave a comment below, guys. That's it. It's over. What do you guys think? Crazy, man. Pretty much all for right now, guys. And there'll be more to come shortly. Thanks again.